another episode. Wow, my tongue had a little another episode of Polite as Fuck. Hope you guys are doing good. I've decided I'm going to stop commenting on the weather when I do my openings because it's always flip-flopped. By the time we record, it's the opposite
You're like,
weather.
it's so sunny and it was rainstorms.
I'm like, okay. And then the next time I'm like, yeah, it's been rainy and the sun is out. I'm like, okay, we're done?
It's fine.
So hope that wherever you are and whatever time and space you are listening to this, that you are enjoying whatever the weather is bringing to you. Because... yeah, we've learned our lesson. Our 10 and 10 today is kind of wholesome. Things that we wish we could bring back from childhood. I can go first. My first one is family dinners.
Oh.
I will have to say maybe not every night, but I do like when...
that's a good one.
Yeah, family dinners were really nice. Sometimes.
It was just nice because you had a forced time to sit down.
Yeah.
You had conversations when you eat. You weren't like scrolling on your phone. You also had food that was like planned for you.
Yeah, everything. That's so true. Everything about it.
It's so lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do miss that. I was actually talking about that the other night. I've been trying to eat at the dinner table, but even then I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
5 minutes and I'm done and I'm going to go on with my day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like something comfy, because it's like if I'm going to sit even for 5 minutes, like, I know it's more proper to sit in the chair, but I'm like, no, I want a fucking couch.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I don't want to eat my food on that couch.
Yeah.
Sometimes I love how much I can overanalyze everything. Like, this is literally, you're just talking about eating, and I'm just like...
I have to be in a couch.
Oh,
my first one, I put library. And not that libraries went away, but I wish I could bring back, like... I loved the summer reading program. I
forgot you did that. When you said libraries, I'm like, what the fuck?
Like going there for like story time, and it was so magical. It was such a magical place.
I never did any of that. I don't think I entered a library until I was like through school, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. My mom loved taking us to. I think I loved going to the library, and it was a free activity, and I went there recently and checked out a bunch of books that are now just sitting on my shelf that I haven't read. But I think the excitement of childhood and new books, and the books are quick and easy to read, was just lovely.
Yeah. And also the library, like, does a lot.
There's
like
so many things.
Yeah, there's so many things.
That's what I was saying. One of the tabs on my phone is that you can get the free state parks pass with your library card.
So those 100 tabs, all of those comments were like, apparently it moves from like counting your tabs to like a smiley face or something. Is that true?
Really?
There were a few comments that said like, if you go over a certain number of tabs,
it's just a smile.
It just like smiles or something. I'll have to double check what the comments
use Chrome, so if it hasn't been used for 21 days, it goes to inactive.
Over. Oh yeah, that's right.
But maybe in Safari it's different.
Maybe. That's because a lot of people agreed with you, and I'm like over here like, hell no, delete. Inactive.
That's funny.
Never. All right. My next one is summers off. I know that this isn't realistic, but I just miss that so much. Like, I will work so much harder if I get 2 months off.
It's like what Europe does, right?
Yeah.
There's like months where it's just like, yeah, the European team's not working right now because they're on their vacation time.
Oh my god. I love that.
I know.
Why can't we do that?
Why can't we do that? There's a reason. We'll come back so refreshed. We'll be so motivated because we just had time away.
Yes.
I agree. I had put in mind that the weekends felt so long as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, you wake up on Saturday morning and you're just like, there's so much time because you're not at school. And just like, I don't know, time just felt so much longer, which I was telling you about this episode I'd listened to of like why that is. And it's because when you're a kid, like, everything's so new and exciting and your brain is like, whoa. And like when you're traveling, you kind of experience that. Like, you feel like you've done so much in a day. But when you have all your routine and every day is kind of feeling the same, it's like, wow, 3 weeks just went by and I don't remember anything.
Yeah. That's so sad.
I know.
That's so true. Walkie-talkies.
Oh my god.
I love walkie-talkies.
Those
I
are so
think
fun.
that it is awesome. Like, it's like it brings back the sense of like, I don't know, adventuring. Like what you were just saying reminded me of like how on the base, like we would literally wake up Saturday and just go walk around. Like we literally were in like a secure area, so we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And we would just walk, and people would take their dogs, and we would find ourselves like at the golf course, at this, like all over the freaking place. And I feel like walkie-talkies were like such a staple in that, to figure out like where one group is for another. And it's just like this sense of like,
fun.
Yeah, because I think like, phones, but it's just different.
Should we get walkie-talkies?
That would be awesome.
Just like communicate. You're at the gym and I'm in here. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah, and I can radio like, hey, neighbor. Actually, I don't know if I can say that because our literal Wi-Fi is subscribed to Polite as fuck.
I don't think Robin's listening.
God, thank you, Jesus. Who knows? You never know.
You never know. That's true. I had put after school play. Like, it's fun.
Oh, cute, yeah.
Because, like, you get out of school and you're, like, calling up your friend. Like, do you want to go ride bikes or something? I know we had swim practice, but I'm thinking in elementary school, like, especially the days when there was no sports or something, and you're just like, what should I do?
Yeah.
Like, there's time between school and dinner, and I have this time to play, and what do I want to do?
Yeah. I never did that.
You never played?
No.
What do you
like,
mean?
no, I played. I thought you meant like a play.
Like acting?
Yes.
No, I was not a childhood actor.
Never mind. It doesn't matter.
That's so funny.
Well, my next one is basically the same thing because it's like forts. Basically, when you used to just
so fun.
play and build stuff. Exactly what you were saying. Not the play, just at home.
Did you ever try and build like an underground play house or something?
Kind of like outside, maybe not like underground digging, but we would try to like in like pine needles and stuff, like try to make a little like cave or like cardboard box, bring that out, and like, oh my god, the shit we would get into is crazy.
Yeah. Savannah and I love digging. We thought that we had the whole vision that we were going to have an underground, like, steps down into this underground, like, cool little thing. And we were like, we could put a TV down here. We could have, like, a little, like, snacks
and then you started
down here.
digging and
then
you realized
the
what
hole
the fuck.
never got larger than this table in width and never went very deep. But we spent a lot of time blistering our hands.
The vision is there.
Yeah. I also had part of, like, what should I do with all this time I can play was activities being planned for you. Like, the fact that it's, like, we're going camping this weekend, or, like, oh my gosh, surprise, we're going to Disneyland. It's like, let's bring that. Someone plan my life for me a little bit. Like, I don't want to be like, birthday coming up. I'm like, crap, what do? I don't know. And I just pull the trigger instead of, like, okay, we planned this whole thing. Fun, yay, and you just show up. It's great.
I love it. I literally did that for you. I was like, plan my here. You take control. Because I cannot. My last one is just the military base, like, atmosphere. Like, I was just thinking about childhood, and it kind of ties into what we're talking about today, but I just think that there was this sense of community that I haven't really experienced anywhere else, like in terms of like living in neighborhoodly, behavior. I just miss that, and being able to like feel safe. Like, I really was sheltered in a way not a lot of people have experienced. Like, I didn't start locking my doors until I went to college. Like, front door locking, even like, I don't even think my mom really started that habit until she remarried, because it just was never like, and then so many people in our life would be like, are you dumb? Like, are you guys crazy? And it just was never a thing. And so I just think like that aspect of childhood was just like all of that, which is basically ties in everything Fort's playing. And like, my mind, I can't get over the fact that I thought you were talking about a play, because you were like, after school I don't know, I can't get over it. That's like all that's in my head right now.
Totally fine.
I know. I just think
we
it's
did
so funny.
like play, pretend like if we're going out
that's
as a
true.
play, like
yeah,
school or house or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah, so it was
Same
fine.
sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway, military based atmosphere. I miss that. Wish I could bring that back.
I never experienced that, but I can imagine. I feel like even just hanging out with you, I like got a sense of it going over to your house.
Yeah.
Of like this like secure bubble.
Yeah.
In a way that you're in. Well, not related. Mine last one was back to school shopping. Because it was like the one time a year that we would get new clothes and it was fun. We like made, well, for a few years we made like a trip out of it. Like we went to Roseville, got to go to like a big mall, and we got a budget of like $200 and whatever we wanted to spend that on. And I just like showing up to school feeling fresh. And right now it's like sometimes buying clothes is just not enjoyable. But back to school shopping, that was like the time you did it and it was exciting.
That's so true. I think maybe I think of like some family things and I just remember the like dysfunction of it all.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that is like, I think thinking of back to school is like, but you like look at the list that you got from school and it was like, no, you need this kind, but no, it says this kind.
Oh,
like those
like buying
kinds of
school supplies? That's different.
Yeah.
I meant like clothes.
The clothes thing of it. I think that I feel pretty lucky that it wasn't like one time of year. I think if we needed something, my mom would like take us or like make a trip out of it, or like birthdays were the time to do that kind of stuff. So when I think to back to school shopping, it was more so like the supplies and like making sure everything is ready. Like I find no joy in picking out my backpack. Like I just was like, I just don't even
I don't
want
care.
to.
It was stressful because it's like, I'm going to be wearing this all year.
Yeah.
What am I saying to my fellow students with this backpack?
Yeah. And most of the time it was like back to school was like a start to the new school. So it was just like, I can't breathe.
Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, what are we talking about this week?
Anyway, we're talking about long distance relationships, which we've both experienced. And for some reason, I just keep finding them. Don't know why. Every relationship I've been in has long distance. I will say, so in case you missed it, Mr. Forrest is deploying, and yes, it's like sad and a bummer that he'll be gone, but I, at least right now, am like, all right, it's fine. Like, I kind of know what to expect. He's already gone on like the training trips and stuff. And I don't know, like, especially growing up with dads that were in the military, it's like, it's just par for the course, or whatever the phrase is. That's how life is. And I think knowing that he's getting out, or says, we'll see, says he's getting out, and knowing that there's like an end date is fine, because I think past relationships, long distance, it was like, okay, when are we gonna move together? So maybe you want to talk about that experience.
No, I think I have a few thoughts.
Okay.
I think the first thing is, aside from like the deployments and long distance relationship, I think the overall like theme that I've learned, and also just seeing you and Mr. Fours, is like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And I think a lot of it has to do with like mental maturity. I think long distance is really difficult for a lot of people. It's difficult for everybody, but I think that it takes a certain kind of mental maturity and like framework for you to even be able to like I just see a difference. Not that I'm like, I've always been in your life, but I feel like in the past, talking about like other relationships and times where you had to spend a long period of time apart, not that you're not calm, but like, I don't know, there's just a sense of like, I don't, mental maturity. Like, it's not that you're not sad or whatever, but it's just a little bit different. And I'm inputting myself and like, how would I be acting in this situation? And my mental maturity level is very low. I'd be freaking the fuck out. It's not, I think, or maybe how I'm like phrasing it is like, how would this look in my past long distance relationship? And I'm like, oh my God, like it would be different. So I just like thought of that while you were saying about that. Just to your point of like, yeah, when you grow up in a military family, this is like second nature. This isn't a surprise. It's kind of like you prepare yourself. It's not like he told you last minute. I feel like you've known about him, you know his job. You approached the relationship knowing, which makes it a little easier. And also there's this like, which we can talk about too. I haven't dated someone in the military. My long distance relationships were from like other situations, but I know the military. I have experience with someone that goes on deployment, and you have a sense of like badassness of like, it kind of is like, yeah, they do this different job, and you feel a part of it too because you are a part of it. And so I think that there's that sense of like that feeling when it comes to like long distance relationships. Yeah. It's tough though. I think the hardest thing when I think about long-term like relationships, I think about like communication and how that is just difficult no matter whether they're in the military or not. And I think that that is like the big pillar and foundation of a relationship. So when you take that away, it's like what's left and how do you navigate that? And that's like I think where a lot of the challenges come from. So I think there's this sense of like, okay, what is going to be like replaced in between those like lack of communication and like being able to fucking figure that shit out because it is so hard.
It's hard. Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to bring up because comparing both of my previous relationships, communication, even when we weren't long distance, wasn't great.
Right.
Like the dramatic fights, the like not really finishing conversations.
Yeah.
That was the thing before we even put distance in between us. So then when really mature Erica is on a phone call and gets frustrated and hangs up or like is ignoring things because I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with this right now.
Yeah.
It's like
you're in timeout.
Yeah. Do not disturb.
Yeah.
And not saying I handle things well, but I think that the comparison now, I'm like, we had a pretty heated conversation the other night and it didn't necessarily end on like a solution, but I think that we were able to communicate what we were feeling and like what we were frustrated with without being like, I hate you, like fuck off, because those things have happened before. I think because it's mental maturity and also like respect for the other person.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like I don't know that this is bad. I don't know that I necessarily like thought of my previous partners as like equals. Like I think that I held myself as like I'm like the better person in this relationship. Wow, I'm really being raw right now, but like
interesting.
Because I feel like I did so much and I overfunctioned.
I feel like you should feel like that. Because I was gonna say I put people. This was the conversation that we had before. Is I put people up. Always feel inferior. Always. But I feel like I'm like, damn, I wish I could.
Well, it's weird because it's like, it was like all in my head. It's not that I like communicated that with them, but I think because I'm like, I am doing your dishes for you. I'm cleaning your bedroom for you. I'm like driving all over town for you. It's like, I think that I'm like the stronger person in the relationship, the like more mature person in the relationship, whatever it is. So even though we're having these fights, I never felt that like I was in the wrong because I'm like, I do so much more shit
in your head where you're just like, you don't even know.
Yeah,
like I am at another. I get that. Actually, I understand that.
Yeah, because I still like stuck around, and clearly it wasn't working.
Yeah.
But I think the distance piece, I kept like tallies in my head of like, well, I've done 1,000 things more than you have, and all you've done is come and visit me twice. So I get to behave this way.
Yeah. I think that's the kind of maybe a benefit to the fact of I also said that I didn't date anybody that was in the military that was deployed, and that's a lie. I have. Literally.
I was like, when you said that, I was like, okay,
are you sure?
We're not
going to talk about that huge elephant in the room. Great. No, but I think that is a benefit too. Maybe someone being in the military is Also, you're welcome for us showing up today. It has been one hell of a week.
Chaos in here.
Erica doesn't know how to drink water. No, I think like when they're gone for work, you can't really have the tally game because it's like it's their job. And I don't know, I'm speaking for myself here, but when I was in that situation, I didn't really play the tally game so much when it came to like that kind of stuff because it was like, oh, the work. But then it became like, okay, well, when can you? And then when the time came that we could call or we could do something and then you didn't utilize that time for that, that's where like I got frustrated and then maybe the tally game came in. But I do think that that's maybe a benefit of the whole military aspect of it.
Yeah, that is. I think a benefit of long distance relationships in general is it like makes or breaks you in the communication department because it's like that's all you have. And so if you're not like making the time for it or like actually communicating how you're feeling and like building resentment on your end but also like texting them being like yeah totally, then it's not gonna work. But also you just have time to like do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. Like, not that I am thrilled that he's leaving, but I'm also like, great, now I have all these times where I'm trying to like drive to his or plan different things. And like, yes, I love those moments together. I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm like a little bit relieved to like have time to figure out school and spend time with friends and go back home and like not also be like, okay, now how am I balancing this with your family and your time? It's like,
do you feel though that was like extra like pressured because of this like, oh, we only have this amount of time?
That's true. Yeah,
like,
especially
this
like, last month.
Yeah, like you haven't really been able like, how am I trying to phrase it? Like your scheduling thing became more like stringent and having to like plan something because of like you knew the lack of time rather than like, oh my gosh, we have forever so we can like, you know what I mean? When I'm trying to say it feels like it was almost like, I mean, I would do the same thing too, but I'm like, you have to fit so much into your free time because you knew that you weren't going to. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, because even like on Tuesdays, which are like my most busy days, where I'm coaching twice, I would like personally prefer to come home to my house, make my dinner, get ready for bed, do all the things. But like the last few weeks, I've been like packing like my workout clothes and overnight clothes and my outfit for the next day so that I can go over there and spend the night because it worked better with his schedule. And like those are just things that you do when you care about someone. But it was also like, I don't think I would have done that every week if he wasn't leaving.
Right.
Which was like that added stress of like, no, we only have...
Which takes a toll. Like those days, like the time to yourself is meaningful and necessary.
We did have to have the conversation, and that was what I brought up a few episodes ago of like, I need time on the weekends to clean, to reset, to feel like at peace going into the next week, because when I don't do those things, the chaos like carries over.
Totally, yeah.
And then I'm like frantic and like all over the place.
I feel like I get like the chaos then enters my brain, and then everything like the negative talk, it just like spirals into my brain and then leaves me feeling exhausted.
Yeah.
For the week ahead, and I'm like, oh my god.
I will say, like, I still don't think I know what a normal, not long distance relationship is. Because I think about, like, my high school relationship. Oh, wow. He was 2 years older than me. So we weren't even, like, going to high school together at the same time. And then he left for the Coast Guard. And I went to college. So it's like we never really had normal dating in that time. And when I moved out there to like, okay, we got to figure this out. What are we doing? I think that there was like a timeline on that too of like, we need to pack this in because this is either working or it's not. And then like my last relationship, like, yes, we lived in the same state.
But it's still long distance.
Yeah, we couldn't do
if you have to travel over 45 minutes to see someone, It's long distance. That's that might be like crazy, but it takes a lot like to make time to carve out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like different when they live on the other side of the world, but still like that shit is tough.
I know. And so now it's like even, we've had almost a year like getting to know each other, but it's still like there's still been timelines on things, or like he's been gone for like multiple, like 2 months last year basically working. So it's still not normal.
But I think it is exactly makes perfect sense to what you were saying before. Not that you're excited that he's leaving, but that you have this space to open up to kind of like, this time is now opened up for you, because in the past it's like you haven't experienced this. Like your time hasn't really been, when you do, like for instance, like driving to and from LA is exhausting and a lot. But then like throughout the week, it's like, your weekdays, you come home, that's a whole other thing. But you know, like your time was yours. And then same before, it was like, when you weren't, you know what I mean? Whereas this time is like the first time really this past year that you've been like, oh, now it's like you're here all the time. Like, what do we do? So now it's like, it's almost like, you're getting that time back. It's just different. That's fascinating. Yeah. Interesting.
No, you bringing that up makes me realize maybe that's why I've been a little bit like more of a planner, because I'm used to that being okay. When we have time together, we need to have plans. And he's like, can we just
like based on your past? Yeah, you're like, no, I can't. I don't know how. I cannot chill.
Yeah. Whereas like with you, living with you, I'm like, we can be doing whatever, and then like, hey, do you want to watch an episode, or like, do you want to, like, we just start talking. That's like normal.
Yeah.
But I think being in a relationship with him, I'm like, okay, so you're coming over here. We're going to have dinner at this time. I do that too. Yeah.
And I think that's also a military family thing. And I think from maybe even his perspective is like, I just get out of scheduling 100% of my workday, and now I have to do it now, which is understand. But our brains is like, I know both of our parents, especially our fathers, like our life was like 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. was swim, and then this, and then this, and then this. Like it never ended. And breakfast, dinner was at this time, and then swim meet started at this time, and then it was this. Yeah. Like I do that. Like you and I are very similar, and I take a look at your Google calendar sometimes, and I see everything is blocked out. I do that too. I literally will have like walk dogs. My relaxation time, and I'm sure a lot of you guys like this is a normal thing, but it is so like you want to have things scheduled.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to like relationships, when you come home and your partner's there, it's just like, oh, whatever you want to do. But sometimes it's like, no. We need to schedule exactly what kind of dinner are we going to have.
Yeah, because if it's like, if this is chill night, then tomorrow's not chill night, because those things are going to get done then. Yeah. Like in my brain, I'm having to like chill push night. Stuff around.
Another good thing about long distance is kind of reiterating what you were saying of if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It really puts you in a pressure cooker of like, this is either about to fail or we're about to make it work. I do think that it like when it does work, there's this like I've found, even though they've all like failed, but I found that when it is good, you really see a deeper side of people because the communication is like deeper, and you also have to find, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, like you have to find different and more creative ways to tell someone that you love them or that you care about them, because either the communication is lacking, and for a lot of my experiences in the past, there was a huge time difference where literally when I was sleeping you were awake, and when I was awake you were sleeping. So you have to be very creative, and I think that allows you to like see, I don't know, there is something so fucking hot about seeing a man be creative. Send a care, like, do something different, out of the box, out of the norm, and, like, this is a perfect opportunity to do stuff like that. I mean, you should incorporate that in your life, whatever. But I just, in terms of, like, the long-distance relationship, the good thing about it is, like, the creativity when it comes to, like, communication, and then you also just get to see a little bit of a different side to them, and love them for like different things that you don't maybe get to see all the time. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because Yes. I feel like the things that I've made in the past or I'm making right now are not things I would have done if we weren't, like, going to be separated for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't take the time to, like, write this journal, basically, about our relationship so that you have things to, like, remind you of, like, why we're together.
Yeah.
Funny story, though.
I can't wait.
I was trying to be cute and print some pictures.
Oh my god, I just did dying. Oh, this is... I'm crying. Okay.
So, you know, because it's like, yeah, I can, like, send you stuff, but also, like, isn't it fun to have, like, a physical copy? It's also one of my goals for this year is to make, like, actual photo albums from pictures, especially being off social media. It's like, I love looking through memories. I love, like, my photo album. Anyway,
yeah, memories. Photos.
A few memories are pictures that I maybe don't have a lot of clothes on, and I decided to print a few of them for this journal. Well, I went to CVS. I haven't printed photos in forever. I don't know how they randomly select the, like, preview images on your order of what, so that they know that it's you. I go to pick it up. The, like, 3 preview images were the 3 photos that I included of me, like, naked, basically. They were my nudes that were the preview photos. She's like, Erica Chappell, like, looks at it and then hands it to me. I'm, like, mortified. I didn't notice it at first until I'm walking to the car.
I literally cannot breathe.
Just, like, one where my, just full tits out. I'm like, oh.
Oh my god.
What are the odds? Because all the other ones are so wholesome.
What's funny is, like, your stack of photos that you had is, like, pretty thick. So the fact that it was, like, the only 3 saucy photos that you decided to throw in there, like, fuck you, CVS. You're welcome for a free fucking show. Oh my god, and the fact that you didn't notice until you got to the car.
I sat in the car and I looked down and I was like, oh my god. She just saw my nudes. This is crazy. It's risky to send them in text and risky to print because...
That is such a, like, rom-com thing to happen.
Yeah.
Like... Oh my god. That is funny. But I think, well, that's a perfect segue too, because goddamn, like, another kind of hard but good thing about long distance relationship is, like, keeping your sex life alive and saucy. And, like, yeah, photos and videos are, like, what you do. It's what I did. It's what everyone does, I feel like. And I think it just takes it to another level and allows, like, it's like really, really, really long foreplay, and I'm sure guys are like, well, that's fucking annoying, but for girls, I'm like, this is heaven.
This is great. It's been 6 months of foreplay.
Yeah. So I think that's, like, a benefit, too.
It is. You really learn how to communicate, like, what you're wanting.
Yeah.
Which is not a strength of mine in the bedroom. Like, when someone's like, what do you want? I'm like,
whatever.
Everything's lovely.
Yeah. You think you know best.
But when they're, like, trying to, you know, like, connect with you and you have to step up.
Yep.
Figure it out.
Yep.
Talk about what you want. It's like, okay, how would I describe this?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had to, like, articulate those things before. So that is a good thing on the communication front.
Yeah.
It's, like, figuring out. Because then when they come back, you can be like, this is what I want.
In real time.
In real life. And I think that people in general think that's hot. Like, when they're telling me what they want, I'm like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
But then when it's your turn, it's like when you have to go, and when it's like, I kind of imagine it being like popcorn in school, you know, when you're reading and, like, you know, you're, like, counting, or, like, you know, it's going to be your time and your paragraph and you have it all summarized, and then they call your name and you're like, in the Middle Ages. And, like, you don't even know
like
how to...
skipping words, saying the wrong number. Yeah.
It's
wow,
the worst.
that's a vivid memory. Let's not bring that back from childhood.
Definitely not on our list. Yeah, I mean, I just think... I don't know. It is tough when all of my long distance relationships have failed and the failing is because actually, you know what?
Yeah,
no, it's not.
I feel
it
like
has a lot
you
of reason.
A lot.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like, I don't know, you learn so much about yourself because all of the stuff that is important and like not fluff, I mean, it is important too, but it gets taken away and then it's like, well, what's left? Mm-hmm. And I think maybe not you, but more so me, like I do better under pressure like that. And so I think in a lot of my situations, in my relationships, I should say, I knew what the answer was and then was like then put to the test and kind of already knew what the outcome was going to be, but was too big of a freaking idiot to pull the plug myself. So I blamed it on the
years.
Yeah, I blamed it on the distance, which I'm glad I stopped myself, because in reality that's not why the relationship ended. It ends, and I think most people in long distance relationships can like attest this, is like it ends for other reasons. I think if it's back to what I said before, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And I think it's just doesn't mean it's not hard.
Yeah, I think it's more of like, especially if you are dating not long distance in the start, it long distance exacerbates whatever issues you have currently.
Totally.
And so, yeah, I did the exact same thing. It was like issues that we had before we went long distance just became worse, or they like got swept under the rug, and then it was just like this constant misery because we were never figuring it out.
Yeah.
And maybe don't be like us and just be like, oh, when we're together, it'll be fixed. It's like, no, you fool.
Yes.
If you can't figure it out, it's not going to be better. When you're together. It'll be like, because then the times you are together, especially if it's like you get to see them for 3 days and then it's back to normal, it's like, that's a vacation. You guys are having like the happiest time, and then you go back and then you're like, why am I so unhappy still? It's like, well, because you didn't solve whatever the problem was.
Yeah. I also don't recommend getting into a relationship by starting out long distance either.
Why is that?
The list goes on. Well, I think it's because then when you're young, I think I was just really young, but I think starting off with all these promises over the phone and then making it happen, it was like, oh, we just lived it. The trial run of the relationship was no longer a trial run. It was like, oh, hey, yeah, you guys are together, but now you're together in a whole new country. So have fun with that.
Yeah.
But I just think, I think you really have to start a relationship with a good foundation and then be able to go through something like long distance. And I think if you don't have a good foundation at the beginning, whether you are long distance or not, then it's just only going to get worse from there. But but deployments, I think it's always my, like, to end more on like a positive note, is the care package piece of it, and like building the cutesy gifts and stuff for whoever it is you're sending, or like, is really fun. So I liked that part of deployments, and dating someone that was in the military as well. That was a fun part. Yeah,
it's a good reminder of like, if you're not in a long distance relationship, like, when's the last time you did something like that for someone? Because I literally wouldn't have been doing this little package if he wasn't leaving. And it's like, are we only waiting until Christmas or their birthday to like do something nice? Because I think, like, we all know relationships take work, even friendships. When's the last time you like did something in that regard? It's not just like the normal thing. And hopefully you don't have to go long distance to figure that out.
Totally. This is only because she has
it's forced.
To. No?
But there are some benefits. I do think that you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about the other person. And when there is an end in sight, it's really not that bad. But hopefully, if you are in long distance and you don't know what's going on, like when you guys are going to see each other again, you can figure that out. Because I think having that like end goal makes it bearable.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Find that end goal.
Find a goal. Why are you doing this? But that's all I have to say on the subject.
Well, keep tuning in so you can figure out how this is going for Erica.
Yeah, we're actually recording this pre-leaving day, but I think it'll be fine. We're both used to this stuff, so I'm not. I was thinking about it too, because a lot of people, and I know they come from a good place, are like, how are you feeling? And people say, like, when someone, like, dies or something and someone's asking you like that, it's like, of course I'm feeling, like, not great.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. Are they, like, wanting me to say I'm, like, sad? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm bummed, but also it's fine. It'll be fine.
I think that's why so many people in the military stay with other military people, because there is this sense of, like, you kind of know what to say. Like, I do feel like if you were to hang out with someone in your exact situation, they wouldn't approach it like that. I mean, maybe they would, but maybe more so of, like, they would have the right questions of, like, oh, where's he going? Which people do have, but that's, like, after the fact.
Yeah, and it's not that it's bad to ask
No,
how
not
I'm feeling.
at all. Yeah, of
it's
course.
just more of, like, I don't know, how would you be feeling?
How do you think? No, that's Sassy.
But aside from that, feeling fine. Feeling like ready for another week, and maybe I'll initiate some new things in my life to make it feel like childhood again.
Yeah.
Circle
back. Guys, see what we're doing here.
All right, guys. Pilates Book Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. We love ya, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.